Welcome to the Killer Author Club. 3 best-selling authors talking about killing, of the fictional kind, with the best thriller and suspense authors in the business. Killer conversations, killer cocktails, and killer guests, with your hosts, Kimberly Bell, Heather Gutenkopf, and Kara Ruda. This is the Killer Author Club.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Killer Author Club, your favorite haunt where the body count is a feature, not a bug. Tonight, we are waiting on Alex Finlay, who is supposed to be in the hot seat to talk about his thriller, The Anniversary, but he has been held up in an event. He is a very busy guy, so we are going to wait for him to appear and chat about all sorts of bookish stuff that we've got coming up. I'm Killer Kimberly Bell.
I'm Killer Heather Gutenkopf.
And I'm Killer Kara Ruda. And we'd love to hear your questions too. If you have any for us killers, this is your opportunity.
That's right. We have a half an hour to fill.
Hey, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got this.
We do. And a bit of quick housekeeping before all the bloodshed starts. Tonight's show drops Friday as a podcast with bonus content you won't hear here. Find the links to listen and download at killerauthorclub.com. And while you're there, sign up for our newsletter so you are the first to hear all our killer breaking news, because in Thrillerland, first to know is first to survive. Speaking of breaking news, remember that Name a Character auction we've been hyping up all over our socials. Someone's about to find out if they're going to be immortalized in Take Back the Night, our co-authored thriller dropping this January. We will reveal the winner at the end of the show, so stick around. But wait, there's more. This Thursday, Danielle Trussoni, writing as Danielle Postel-Vinay, takes over our Instagram to talk about her new mystery, Murder Most Delicious. Will there be giveaways? Of course. Mark it in blood and set your reminder now so that you don't miss out. Also, good news from Alex. He is trying to log in. He has a little bit of a technical difficulty, but he is on his way. So,
look, Roxanne asked, how is the joint KAC book coming along?
We're so excited. We're so excited. So we've written it, we've rewritten it, we've done more polishing and copy edits, which we're just about ready to turn in. We're just dropping in the name of the person that we randomly are picking to have their name in the book, and then we hand it right back over to our editor.
That's right. And it's scheduled for, Alex Finlay is here, guys. It's scheduled for January 12th coming out.
Yes.
Look who we found.
I'm so sorry. Sorry. I was having, I raced from an event I had with John Lindstrom in Baltimore and just ran in the door, and then my computer didn't work. So I'm on my phone. So I apologize.
Oh, no. Oh, you poor thing. Oh, yeah. A little extra stress.
Yeah, always good.
So, Heather, would you like to do the honors and introduce Alex now that he's here?
Welcome, Alex. We're so glad you're here. Alex Finlay is the best-selling author of several acclaimed novels, including the 2026 instant national bestseller, The Anniversary. His work regularly appears on Best of the Year lists and has been translated into 27 languages and sold around the world. Alex's books have been optioned or are in development for film and television, including Parents' Weekend, which was recently acquired for adaptation to the screen. Alex is a director of the thriller mystery section of the Leopardi Writing Conference in Italy and a board member of the Faulkner Foundation, and he lives in Washington, D.C. Alex, welcome. We're so happy you're here with us, and tell us a pitch about The Anniversary, like our life depends on it.
Our life depends on it. No. So The Anniversary, the main premise is there's a serial killer who strikes the same day every year on May 1st. It's called the May Day Killer. But I like to say the book's really isn't so much a serial killer book as a book about, I pitched it to my editor as a love story about fate with a serial killer. And so we follow these two characters, Quinn Riley and Jules Delaney. We meet them on May 1st, 1992, when they're in 11th grade. And then we follow them for the next 10 years, but only we get a snapshot of their lives only on May 1st of every year for each of the years for 10 years. And during that period, the Mayday killer is, wreaking havoc, and the mystery unfolds.
So good. And it was so much fun to go back in time. Early 90s. That was a blast from the past. So much fun.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
So readers, get chatty, drop your questions into the comments, and we'll answer as many as we can. But first, Kara, what are we drinking?
We are drinking the French 75. Alex, can you please tell us why you chose this as your drink tonight?
Yeah, I told it, and Kira Kira and Kimberly. I wish Heather was there. We have this little Paris buddies thing where we all get together in Paris one year.
You guys go to Paris without me.
We tried to get you there, but and they know I'm an insufferable lover of Paris, so I make it like part of my identity. So the last time I was in Paris, my wife and I went to like basically a cocktail making class because we like to do all the real cultural things in Paris, and so that was one of the drinks that we made. So that's why I picked it.
Yeah, it's fun. I know, what a fun adventure we had in Paris. I was just thinking about that when you were talking. All right, well, thank you and cheers. We're glad you made it tonight.
Cheers. All right, guys. So we created the Killer Author Club so readers could get up close and personal with their favorite thriller writers. Our upcoming lineup is stacked with amazing killers. We got Jamie Day, Jessica Knoll, Andrea Bartz, Dervla McTiernan, and so many more. For dates, times, past episodes, and our Killer 2026 lineup, surf to killerauthorclub.com. But tonight, it's all about the anniversary. And here's what Alex's early reviewers had to say about the book. Booklist gave it a starred review. The suspense never lets up. The various storylines come together nicely, and there are a few twists that even the most well-read mystery readers may find surprising. This is Finlay's best book in years. Library Journal also gave it a star and said, somehow Finlay manages to improve with each amazing book, and he has crafted another terrific suspense novel that demands to be read in one sitting. And from our friends at Book Reporter, I'm excited to report that Alex Finlay may have produced his best work yet with his spine-chilling and absorbing new thriller. So, Alex, clearly you are a skilled and masterful killer, and now we need to know your answer to the killer question: where do you kill?
Where do I kill? Do you mean like where do I write these books? Is that
however you want to answer it?
Where do I kill? Yeah, you guys know me well enough to know like I'm a hack. I write the drafts of my books on my phone as I'm walking. Which is, always people find strange, but it's kind of been my process since I started writing. I started writing as a young lawyer where I was super busy. I never had any time. So I would write on the walk to the subway, on the train, and then the walk to my law office in downtown DC. And I just got used to like actually tapping it out. And back then it was on a BlackBerry. That shows you, talk about the 90s. And so it just became part of my process. I would think about the book, think about the scenes. And once they kind of congealed, I would, basically tap out, as I'm walking a scene from the book. And I was in on the short chapter thing that's very popular now, well before everybody else, because it was basically a ride it was basically my chapters the length of the subway ride I would take from one stop to the other.
So are you dictating, or are you like typing?
No, I'm typing, I'm tapping. My wife's constantly worried I'm going to get hit by a car. But it's just how I've always done it. And, and during the pandemic, I was having a bout of writer's block, and I was like, why am I not getting word on a page? It's because I didn't have a commute anymore. And so I started like just bundling up in the winter in coats and going on like these 2-hour walks down Connecticut Avenue in DC.
So how many trees and poles have you walked into?
I've only once, and coincidentally, we were talking about Paris. That was the only time I've had about, in Montmartre, I hit one of those cement beams that stick out of the road and nearly broke my leg. I did not, thankfully.
That's a terrible place to do that. Yeah. Everybody's going, oh,
Yeah, I would
another
have been a very
tourist.
bad, I don't know, I don't know how I would have learned about the French hospital systems and all these things, but I got lucky and did not break my leg.
Oh, God. All right. So, a serial killer who strikes one day a year, like where did that idea come from? And I saw someone in the comments asking why May 1st? Why did you choose May 1st?
Oh yeah, good questions. Where the idea came from, I'm not totally sure. I know you guys get asked this question, like where do you get your ideas? I need to start writing it down because I get asked it every time, and I never have that like pinpoint moment for most of the books. Some of them I do. Um, all I knew is I wrote this book called Parents Weekend, which was my last book, and it had so many characters. I write in these multi-point of views, but this was like that on steroids. And I just needed a break from so many characters. And so I thought I just want to have a couple characters that we follow, but I also wanted to have kind of the momentum you get by switching point of views and changing perspectives. So I thought one way to do that might be to just have this long tail, story over a decade. And that one thing led to another, and that became the premise of just giving you a flash of these two characters on that day each year, which I thought would help kind of keep the story moving and keep the readers engaged and filling in the gaps with their imaginations, all those things we like them to do. Um, and the May 1st date, I do remember where that came from because I didn't really have a killer called the May Day Killer. May 1st came because I had remembered this concert I went to in 1992, a Pearl Jam concert. And I had kind of a vision of a scene there. And so I just looked it up, and it happened to be on May 1st, 1992. So I set the first chapter there, and it took off from there. And it took me writing a few years of May 1st to realize, oh, May 1st, May Day. And that's how I came up with the serial killer idea. And it's just kind of fortuitous that that date kind of drove the whole story because it was all the events that had happened over that period of time. And I have like the male character Quinn at one point. I wanted him to be involved in some kind of conflict in the military. He joins the military because he's got no options, but there were no real wars at the time. If I, jumping off this May 1st, 92 date, and I learned about this conflict in Somalia, and so it's just one of those fun things about writing where one kind of random decision charted so many others, and it was kind of a fun thing as I went through and wrote the book.
Great.
Very
I
cool.
feel like Heather wants to ask the next question.
Well, so this book is a lot of it set in Omaha. We're Midwesterners, and so I'm not too far from Omaha. Tell us why you decided to set it there.
Yeah, I don't know. I sent another book there too, at Every Last Fear. I think I just like the vibe of 90s. I was there in the 90s. I like setting books in the Midwest. I like that era because there's no cell phones. DNA was just starting. It makes it harder for to catch a killer. And coincidentally, Heather knows, like, I went to high school with one of Heather's closest friends in the world, which is the small world element in Nebraska. In
Yeah.
Nebraska.
And so many Easter eggs. Like I was texting Nora. I'm like, is there really a place called the Dubliner in Omaha? And she's like, oh my gosh, yes, it's a real and things like that. So very fun.
Okay,
Yeah,
Jackie wants to know, how did you go from lawyer to writer?
How did I go from lawyer to writer? It was a long process. I'm not one of these people, and I don't know if Kara, Kimberly, or Heather, you were these annoying people who go, I knew I wanted to write when I was in elementary school, and I read Nancy Drew and
Kara
I wrote
did.
stories. Yeah, Kara, I should have guessed. But so I didn't know I wanted to be a writer. I thought I was going to be a musician in a rock band. I had giant 80s hair. You don't want to see the pictures. You cannot unsee them. But
We want to see.
and yeah,
Yeah, I want
so
to see Alex Finlay with hair.
oh, it is not pretty. But and so I thought I was going to be in bands, and so when I had an epiphany when I was about to graduate college, and I was playing these clubs every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night that's how I paid my way through college. And I just got kind of this, realization that we weren't that good and that we were not going to make a living doing this. And I had taken some law classes in college, and that was really the only thing that I had found really super interesting. And so I applied to law school, went, and then at some point after, being a lawyer for 3 years, I had my first child, and I was up late at night because he wasn't a great sleeper. And I just got this whim, like, I'm going to try and write a novel. And on reflection, I think, it's kind of an arrogant, weird thing to think you've never wanted to be a writer, you don't have any training as a writer, to want to do that. But I think it was just a looking for a creative outlet because I'd given up music is the only thing that makes any sense.
Daisy wants to know, what instrument did you play?
I played a number of instruments, none of them very well, but I played guitar mostly.
Fun. And I get that about the creative outlet, but I know so many authors who used to be attorneys or who practice law at some point. What is it with that combination? Is it the writing part?
I think that you see a lot of, you go to Thriller Fest, this conference we all go to every year, and you can throw a rock and hit a lawyer, a former
Yeah.
lawyer or a former journalist, pretty easily. And you might want to hit the lawyers with the rock, but so I think that it's a combination. For me, I'm a writing lawyer. I'm an appellate lawyer. So a lot of that is it's not like on TV where you're in a courtroom arguing to people. It's really just a lot of writing. It's a lot of storytelling because in an appeal, you have a very, short not reasonably number of pages, 30 to 50 pages to set out what can be, if you had a trial that lasted, 6 months, or you had a big case on some weighty issues, and you have to write this brief for a very busy judge, who, that you don't want them reading it more than once. You want them to immediately understand. And I'm still of the view that, like, despite all the legal mumbo jumbo in the briefs, the best story, my client's story, is whoever's story is better is going to win, because I do think judges at the end of the day are seeking a common sense, just answer to these questions. And so a lot of that's in, whose story is better, and how we tell it. And so I think it was really good training for thrillers, because what I still do, you often will get like these trials or this record, um, where you have the testimony and transcripts of, like, you can have like 50 different witnesses, and you have to decide, all right, which witness am I going to focus on? What am I going to quote from their testimony? What is the best little nugget from this massive amount of material that I'm going to use to tell the story? And I think for a thriller, it's the same thing. We have to pick that one detail that captures the scene, that one little thing about the person that tells you, so much about them. And with multi-point of view books, where I tell, three or four different people's stories at the same time in parallel, and they all kind of connect, it's a little bit like writing a brief where I'm taking all this mass of other people's testimony, or basically their version of what happened, and telling it in a bite-sized way, in a fair way that kind of explains the story. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And what's the writing book about the story? I've blanked on the name, but it's basically saying that, like, we process everything that happens to us as a story, right? And we fill in the blanks. And so it's a way of seeing the world. I don't know. I'll have to look on my bookshelf. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Nope. We're gonna leave
You
it
guys,
alone.
you guys are smarter than me. I have no
Carry
idea.
on. I'll go over here and find
well
it.
read. I'm not well read.
I'm curious. I want to read it. I love
Yes,
craft
once you
books.
figure it out. Sorry, we can't help. We're all like,
Yeah.
don't know.
But you had in your prologue, Alex, a quote from Ted Bundy, which was like a fantastic way to begin the story. So comparing killing to feeling like God. So what were you trying to prime the reader for from page one, even before page one?
Yeah, those, I don't often do the literary quotes or the quotes at the beginning of a book like a lot of writers do. I know Kimberly, you had a lot of Oscar Wilde in The Paris Widow, and I know people really do it very well. I wanted a couple quotes about fate, and so I took some like real kind of classic literature quotes about fate. Um, I think it was F. Scott Fitzgerald and I forget the other one. And then I thought it would be, well, this is a thriller. I need to kind of I need to mix it up a little with these quotes. So I came across this creepy Ted Bundy quote, and I just thought it was a good juxtaposition with the kind of classic literature quotes, which was really the aim of it. And I felt like his wasn't about like I was trying to find a parallel to fate, and I felt there was some element of that in his creepy God quote.
So creepy.
Yeah, you did Emily Bronte. I've
Oh, Ron, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Wuthering Heights. Yeah.
Ted Bundy.
Yeah. I noticed the audio book left the Ted Bundy quote out, so I don't know if it creeped the producers out enough or what. But I thought that was an interesting.
I thought it was a great way to set the stage. We kind of knew what we were in for.
Yeah. I want you to know going in, this is, I said it's a love story and fate and all that, but it's it's still a thriller and it's still a serial killer book. So you gotta
you got a little
manage
Bundy.
expectations. Manage expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see that it was called, some people said it was a combination between a love story and a thriller. I was like, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was intentional. And I'll give my editor credit, because when I pitched it, she didn't really bat an eye, and she's like, well, we trust you. She kind of was a little hesitant, but said, we trusted you. And,
but you pitched it as a love story too?
Oh yeah, I pitched it as a love story about fate. That it's really a serial killer book, but it's really a love story about fate. I just I wanted to these two characters. I met you all know my wife Trace, and I met her in 11th grade study hall, and I just thought it would be. And she's always been a fate person. Like, well, if I hadn't moved to that town and we didn't meet each other, we would have met each other at some other time. And I used to kind of roll my eyes at it, but I thought it got the spark of this idea of these two characters who we followed through this 10 years. And as the serial killer mystery is unfolding and their lives are touched by it, but they're not in the book together a lot, but they are living. There are parallels throughout the book. They're either in the same place but not with each other, or things that are happening to them are kind of in parallel. And so I just thought it would be fun to do something I'd say a little heavier than my other books. My other books kind of are, they're, I'm not ashamed to say I'm like commercial fiction, airport fiction. I love that. That's what I do. But I thought it'd be fun to do something a little heavier this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love it.
Congratulations. Really great story.
So good.
Oh, well, thank you. You too. You guys too.
So good. Well, I think it's about that time. We could talk all night about the book too, but Killer Alex is giving away 2 copies of the anniversary to lucky US viewers. It doesn't matter where you're watching from, but we scour the comments everywhere we stream. So please make sure to shout out where you're from when you answer this question. Why is Alex's new book called The Anniversary? So drop that in the comments. It's so hard.
It's
pretty,
really
head
scratcher, that one.
That's a softball. Who came up with that? Kimberly, were you just trying to give away like this was like,
me.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's our assistant.
We want people to win books on the Killer Author.
Yeah.
We do.
I didn't come up with that title, by the way. I had my title was 10 because I had this whole I started with the Pearl Jam concert, and I loved this album called 10. It was a big thing in my youth. And so I had this idea that I got a little literary in my, my silliness. And I thought I'd call the book 10. It's 10 years. The 10 will be this theme throughout it. And at the beginning of each year, originally, it was the title of the year, like right under like year 1992, it would be the title of one of the songs from that Pearl Jam album. So for each year, and I thought it was really clever and really deep. Yeah, and so my everybody else was like, what? This song doesn't make any sense. Like, why are we having a Pearl Jam song here? It doesn't have anything to do with the book. And so they nixed it all, which was probably a good decision. Save me from myself as I need often.
I kind of like 10.
Yeah, that's what I did too. I thought it was. I pitched it as well. There's the movie 7. It's pretty popular. There's a serial killer in it, but no.
No,
So,
but not for you. Nope.
so they came up with the anniversary, which I liked too. It was
Yeah,
We'll
I
make
like
the movie could be called 10. How's that?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Yeah.
So, as you guys know, the Killers are big fans of independent booksellers, and we want to send them all the support and love. Alex has chosen Old Town Books in Alexandria, Virginia. Alex, tell us why you love this bookstore so much.
Yeah, well, I love Old Town Alexandria for the town. It's only about a half hour from downtown DC, but it's like going back in time. It's a very kind of just historic area, and they have this great store there that is very supportive of DC area writers. It's just super quaint and they're big thriller supporters. I'll be there tomorrow. Not going. I didn't pick it for that reason. But Sarah Peckin and I are all of our friends. Will be there tomorrow night, and that was the main reason. There's a lot of great bookstores in DC, the DC area, but it's one of my favorite.
Well, if you guys want to pick up a signed copy, then do that tonight. Order up tonight. I just dropped the link in the comments, so you can order Alex's books and any others on your wish list.
Ooh, we just lost Kara. Okay. Well, obviously, the Killers love to read, and we love it when you share what you're reading in our Facebook group. So post pictures, write reviews, ask for recommendations, and give yours. Tonight, though, Alex, we want to know what have you been reading lately?
Oh yeah, I've been reading. I'll tell a non-thriller because I always like to kind of mix it up a little bit. And it's another Paris kind of thing. It's called a Paris novel. It's not a thriller, but I highly recommend it. It's about kind of a coming of age story about a woman who's becomes her destiny is to become a chef. But as far as like other thrillers I've been reading. Sarah Pekkinen's A Woman in White's coming out. My buddy David Ellis has a book called it's going to escape me now. Closer's in the title, but it's coming out in August. He's a great writer. He wrote Look Closer, and that's why I keep mixing up this new title. She read Lisa Gardner's upcoming book, which is great. And those are the ones that kind of jump out at me. And of course, you guys' books. I love all of your books. They're all, I don't like to read them because they make me feel bad about myself. But otherwise, they're just fantastic.
Sure.
Great.
Paris Widow. I love Paris Widow. I like Kara's books, of course, Heather's. So yeah.
Your name was on the front of the Paris Widow.
It was
front cover blurb.
It was more about the good magnifique than my name, but I'll take it. I take it anytime I can get it. Usually I'm in like 10-point font and really small print in the back.
Yeah, right on the very back, or maybe on the inside.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it's funny. I was saying that to David Ellis about his new book is at first I gave him the first blurb and it was all over the place, in the big, and then as Mary Kubecka and other people started raving about it, my blurb kind of slowly, it's by the time we get to the publication, it's going to be like the inside, back page on the inside. So
that's funny. Okay, and you guys, speaking of fabulous books, we have 3 new releases to celebrate tonight. First, we have Two Truths and a Lie by Mark Stevens. Still reeling from a live camera tragedy that made her a household name, a reporter is pulled into a chilling copycat killer case aimed directly at her. That's scary. Okay, next we have Make Me Better by Sarah Gailey. Set in a secluded community on a remote island, Make Me Better is an eerily seductive look at the desire for community and self-improvement and the darkest places inside us all. And finally, we have The Revenge Party by Emily Paulson. When a husband's lies are no longer a secret and manipulation passes for love, a wife must decide how far she's willing to go to expose the man she married and what justice truly means in this dark modern marriage thriller. Okay, guys, so ready for the giveaways? Mark is giving away 1 paperback and 1 ebook copy of Two Truths and a Lie. Sarah is giving away 5 copies of Make Me Better. And Emily is also giving away 5 copies of The Revenge Party, all to Canada viewers. want in, all you have to do is tell us in the comments and make sure to let us know where you're from. So good luck, everybody. Those sound great. Oh, and because we're all about shamelessly plugging, and Alex helped us, our own Murdery Fun, Don't Miss the Killer's latest reads.
That's right. Kara's got We Were Never Friends, a sorority reunion that takes a very, very dark turn.
And speaking of deadly parties, Heather's serving up the perfect hosts and over-the-top gender reveal party that explodes in more ways than one.
And Kimberly's taking you on a deadly European getaway to the canals of Amsterdam in the expat affair.
Yay. And we want to say a big killer thanks to bookreporter.com for sharing the murdery love. Stay up to date on bookish news and events over at bookreporter.com.
That's right. Okay, you guys, we made a promise at the top of the show, and killer authors always keep their promises. It is time to announce the winner of our Name a Character auction for Take Back the Night.
Yes, for those of you just hearing about this book, Take Back the Night is our co-authored thriller out January 12th. Kimberly, Kara, and I wrote it together, and it's probably the most personal project any of us have tackled. At its core, it's about giving survivors a voice that mattered to us from page one.
And because that mission goes beyond the page, this auction benefited the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. So to everyone who participated and donated, thank you. Seriously, you showed up, and that means everything to us.
That's right. And now the moment you've been waiting for. The winner of the Name a Character auction for Take Back the Night is
Alex Finlay.
Do we have a graphic?
Graphic.
Oh no, we don't have a graphic. Okay. It is Shayna Brown. Congratulations, Shayna. Your name is going in the book. What happens to your character? Well, this is a thriller, so we wish you a whole lot of luck.
Good luck with that. So. Well, Alex, we have some very good news for you. You survived the Killer Author Club.
Yes, finally. Good. Good.
You did it.
Yes. So thank you so much for being here. And can you tell us where our listeners and viewers can find you?
I'm mostly on Instagram at Alex Finlay Author, and you can get my events on my website at Alex Finlay Author as well. So I hope you will check it out, and I have like 2 followers on Instagram, so it'd be nice to get two more.
You have 3. 1, 2, 3.
That'd be nice. Yeah, that's true. That's after this event that I will have maybe 3, and my wife. So.
And Sarah Peckinham, because she's always trolling.
Well, she's trolling me, yeah. So that doesn't count. So, but yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, so you guys, that's a wrap on tonight's episode. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget that Danielle Vignier, aka Danielle Trusoni, will be taking over our Instagram feed this Thursday. She's got tons of fun and giveaways planned, so set your alarm and be sure to tune in for that. We'll be back in 2 weeks on June 9th with author duo Jamie Day talking all things beach thriller. Until then, you can catch us wasting too much time on Instagram, Facebook, and occasionally TikTok. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get our numbers up over there. So thank you guys for doing that. For links, upcoming schedule, past episodes, merch, head to killerauthorclub.com. And thank you so much for being part of the club. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
That does it for tonight's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to catch our next show live, we're every other Tuesday night on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For times, upcoming schedule, and to catch up on past episodes, visit us at killerauthorclub.com. Happy reading. Now get on out there and kill that TBR.